Welcome to Deep Dive Unscripted, everyone. The show is full of unexpected turns and international relationships that can lead to tragedy, as little people, big world is aware. For many, the tale of Matt Roloff and Karen Chandler was a beloved second-act romance, a tale of love and friendship following tragedy. However, we're revealing what may be among the most shocking betrayals in history today. I'm referring to Matt Roloff's $800,000 Oregon home sale. Matt Roloff's and Karen Chandler formally parted ways. Karen Chandler stealthily took Matt Roloff's $1 million that he had saved and ran away. Additionally, Karen Chandler gives the money to Rob, his covert boyfriend. For 2 years, Rob and Karen Chandler have been covertly involved in a romantic relationship. And lastly, the arrest of Karen Chandler. Following a trail of money, deception, and covert rendezvous, our team of investigators has been digging for months. What we found is a story that is so stunning and blatant that it appears to have been ripped from a thriller in Hollywood. We must first comprehend what was lost in order to appreciate the extent of the betrayal. Matt takes great pride in this. A 3,300 square foot mansion built for his size and situated on 30 acres of Roloff Farm's most valuable property. It was more than a house. It served as a representation of his life's labor. This piece of Roloff history sold for an incredible $4 million in May 2023. The cost caused some people to take notice. It was a costly fantasy, though. The months passed quickly. The price continued to decline, initially $3.5 million, followed by $3 million. The dream was failing to sell. Then, in September 2023, fans were horrified by news. After dating for 5 years and spending almost 10 years together, Matt Roloff and Karen Chandler had called it quits. The statement was courteous and succinct. They want privacy. The story was established. A mutually regrettable decision. 2 months later, there was more news. At last, Matt had sold his house, although not for millions. It only sold for $800,000 in the end. The fans were perplexed. The calculations didn't add up. The value of the land alone was far higher. There was a lot of speculation. Was Matt in a desperate situation? Was he making a bargain with a relative? The purchaser was unknown. Additionally, Matt would keep the cause for the huge price reduction a secret. Or so he believed. $800,000. This whole riddle was solved with the help of that number. We started our investigation with a straightforward query. Why? After investing millions of dollars and his heart into this property, why would a shrewd businessman like Matt Roloff sell it for a small portion of its true value? Our first hint came from records of public property. No third party purchased the house. One of his children did not purchase it. A recently established limited liability company, or LLC, received the deed. That limited liability company is called Roloff Farms Legacy Holdings. This is a typical strategy. For tax or liability purposes, it enables someone to transfer an asset from their personal records into a business company. At first glance, it appeared like Matt was only reorganizing his assets, possibly in preparation for the farm's future. However, the $800,000 price tag was still incomprehensible. The transaction took place on paper. So, what happened to the money? Our insiders in the legal and financial community of Washington County started to mutter. There was no actual payment of $800,000. The transfer was made easier by the usage of this symbolic image. Matt's corporation now owned the property and house, the true asset. However, this action freed up a substantial amount of his own funds. The trail becomes hot at that point. Matt was able to liquidate slightly over $1 million from his investments as a result of the reorganization, according to many unnamed sources with first-hand knowledge of his financial situation. Although it was a sizable liquid cash reserve, it was hardly his whole life savings. What was the money he had saved and put aside? We might never find out. Maybe for retirement, maybe for a new project. Under his identity and his name alone, this $1 million was deposited into a high-yield savings account. This occurred towards the end of November 2023. He believed he had a faithful partner in Karen Chandler, he had the money, and he had a plan. However, As we would soon discover, Karen had another idea. In retrospect, the first investigators were the fans. Devoted fans of Little People, Big World started creating a timeline on social media and in online discussion boards that didn't align with the friendly breakup story. The wedding that never happened was one of the most telling indicators. The issue of marriage hovered over them for years. Burned by his last divorce, Matt was apprehensive. It seems like Karen was patient. Was she, though? According to a person who is very close to the Roloff family, during the last year of their relationship, the topic of marriage became a major source of conflict. Karen desired the safety. She aspired to be Mrs. Roloff, according to our source. Matt continued to put it off. She grew aloof and icy. Love was no longer the focus. It has to do with an unsigned commercial agreement. After that, Matt made $1 million when the house sold. According to our analysis, Karen's behavior changed significantly when she became acutely aware of this liquidity occurrence, as our sources suggest. We spoke with a former Roloff Farms employee who asked not to be named out of concern for retaliation. They informed us that Karen showed extraordinary interest in Matt's computer and documents in the weeks after the money appeared in his account. She had particular queries concerning online banking, security procedures, and account numbers. She had never asked such questions before. The parts were present. The reason was a relationship that had stopped and her need for financial stability, which she believed Matt wouldn't give. Access to a man who trusted her and his financial details was an opportunity. The means were all she needed. Sadly, Matt had also given it to her. The 15th of December, 2023. Our investigators were able to get bank records that indicate the Hes started on this day. Not everything happened at once. Red flags would have been raised right away. This bleed-out was slow and intentional. At this point, the narrative shifts from a depressing breakup to a possible criminal case. The transaction history that we have presented presents a disturbing image. 2 wire payments totaling $150,000 and $125,000 were made first. An account with the name Karen Chandler received them. Matt's computer, IP address, and login information gave permission for these transfers. Was it Matt, though? According to our Hillsborough Police Department sources, Matt denied authorizing these transactions. How did they occur, then? Analyst for cyber security. This is a classic case of social engineering. Karen may have obtained access to Matt's computer if she had physical access to it, which she probably did, and she watched him type his passwords, a technique called shoulder surfing. People frequently use similar or identical passwords on several different platforms. It's possible that she first gained access to his email before using password reset tools to take over his bank accounts. Although the first 2 moves were substantial, they were believable for a man like Matt Roloff to make. Possibly as a present or as a new investment. The thief wasn't finished, but they didn't set off any significant security alerts. Less than a month later, Matt Roloff's account was steadily depleted of $1 million. To get around detection criteria, the transfers were strategically spread out. The destination accounts changed, become increasingly complex and challenging to track down. A numbered account in the Cayman Islands, a well-known offshore banking refuge, received the remaining $250,000. For all practical reasons, the money was no longer there. Karen Chandler has also. Matt Roloff allegedly went into his bank account to settle payments on January 12, 2024. Any individual would be in complete panic after seeing what he did, with their equilibrium almost completely thrown off. He phoned the police right away, followed by his lawyer and bank. He attempted to contact Karen. Voicemail was the first thing her phone went to. He took a car to her Arizona house. It was deserted. Not a picture on the wall, not a piece of furniture. She seemed to have vanished from the world. His life savings had been taken with her when she left. This was now a significant financial fraud and theft issue for the Hillsborough Police Department. The lead investigator was designated as Detective Eva Morales. The detective's initial course of action was to track the money. The money had already been transferred, but the initial transfers to Karen's account were simple. The funds are transferred to the unnamed account. Davis had more personality. Who was R. Davis? Working alongside the police, our inquiry revealed the truth. Although he was known to his pals as Rob, Davis stood for Robert Davis. He wasn't just any old money launderer, either. 3 other people who knew Karen from her life before Matt claimed that Ra was her long-term, intermittent partner. A partnership that existed for decades before Matt Roloff. According to our sources, Rob and Karen's relationship never really ended. Throughout her whole relationship with Matt, she kept it a secret for years. They characterized Rob as a man with a penchant for the high life, a history of get-rich-quick scams, and a charming but dubious personality. Detective Morales built a startling timeline using credit card information and travel documents. Karen has been surreptitiously traveling to Miami, Florida, for the previous 2 years while she was publicly dating Matt Roloff and participating in a popular television program. Who was in Miami, anyway? Davis, Robert. This was more than a few of visits. It was a whole double existence. Karen was spending her Roloff-funded income on romantic excursions with her secret lover, Rob, while Matt was on the farm planning their future together. Both Matt's and the show's earnings were used to finance a covert Florida lifestyle. After the last $250,000 was deposited into the Cayman account in January 2024, Karen Chandler bought a one-way first-class ticket to Miami. She wasn't trying to hide. She was returning home. Rob and Karen were living the high life in Miami. Our investigation-related sources attest that they made a down payment within days of her arrival. On a lavish Sunny Isles beach waterfront condominium. They leased 2 luxury sports cars for over $500,000 in cash. They were living in luxury, flashing money, and sporting brand new jewels. They were indestructible. They thought they were outside the jurisdiction of an Oregon police agency, were in another state, and were using money that had been laundered. However, they committed a critical error. The kind of error that would destroy their entire world. Rob Davis became overconfident and avaricious. The $1 million was insufficient. He persuaded Karen that they ought to aim higher. Their scheme to extort Matt Roloff. Matt Roloff got a mysterious email to a private account at the beginning of February. The sender claimed to have compromising information regarding Matt's business dealings on the farm and used an anonymous encrypted service. If a consultation fee of $500,000 was not paid to another offshore account, they threatened to release it to the media. Already in shock over the theft, Matt sent Detective Morales the email right away. She needed a vacation like this. The attempt at blackmail served as a clear connection to the criminals. Because the crime was interstate, the FBI was now called in. A collaborative task force was established. FBI cyber experts started keeping an eye on the offshore account mentioned in the extortion email. They put up a trap. They made arrangements for a $500,000 transfer. A traceable wire transfer that is entirely fictitious will be made to the account. The account would be frozen and its location identified as soon as the funds were received. And as the detectives had anticipated, activity on the account skyrocketed as soon as the phony transfer was started. An IP address located in Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, was used to try lock-in. The Wi-Fi at the opulent apartment complex where Karen and Rob had recently moved was connected to the same IP address. They had fallen for the ruse. The net was drawing in. A group of undercover FBI cars and local Miami-Dade police officers encircled the condo complex early on February 22, 2024. They moved in with arrest warrants for Robert Davis and Karen Chandler on accusations of identity theft, wire fraud, interstate theft, and attempted extortion. The arrest happened quickly and without any problems. The official police report states that cops used a key that the building manager gave them to enter the property. Rob and Karen were asleep in the master bedroom when they arrived. There was an absolute element of surprise. The scene was detailed by our law enforcement sources. 2 first-class tickets to Barbados, departing the following day, were on the nightstand next to a pile of cash. They were just a few hours away from permanently leaving the nation. It came very, very near. Robert James Davis and Karen Chandler were arrested. In order to face a plethora of crimes, they were placed into the Miami-Dade County Jail and are awaiting extradition back to Oregon. Now incarcerated was the lady who had portrayed the affectionate companion on television. Matt Roloff was left to pick up the pieces of his broken life back in Oregon. His home, his money, and his trust had all been taken away. It is impossible to imagine the emotional toll. For comment, we contacted Matt Roloff. Citing pending legal actions, he declined to talk on camera. But according to a close family friend, Matt is strong despite his grief. His priorities are his family, the farm, and working closely with the police to guarantee that justice is done. Matt is appreciative of his family's and fans' support at this very trying and private time. He requests that his privacy be maintained throughout the court proceedings. A statement from the spokeswoman for Roloff Farm. The financial road to recovery will be a lengthy one. A large amount of the $1 million is probably lost permanently due to offshore accounts and lavish spending, even though other assets, such as the automobiles and condo contents, have been seized. The violation of trust is a hurt that might never completely heal, but the financial loss is significant. For Matt Roloff, this is a heartbreaking reality, yet it reads like a Hollywood cautionary tale. It's a tale of how the pursuit of wealth and celebrity can corrupt people and how, sometimes, the people we should be most afraid of are those closest to us. Karen Chandler is being held without bail at the moment. She and Robert Davis may spend decades behind bars if found guilty of all the allegations. Regarding the farm, the tradition endures. It has withstood financial difficulties, familial conflicts, and now this significant betrayal. Matt's genuine attitude of perseverance will surely see it through. We will keep a close eye on this subject and notify you of any developments. What are your thoughts? We all missed their signs. Where are they now? Tell us in the comments section below. Additional updates. A tragic problem caused Matt and Karen's Hawaii wedding to be postponed. Following the dissolution of his marriage to Amy Roloff, Matt Roloff had been candid about his desire to move on. He also disclosed that Karen Chandler, his former farm manager, was his lover on Lil People Big World. Fans of LPBW ended their relationship with him because they thought he had cheated on his wife. In her autobiography, Amy subsequently attested to this for herself. Following 6 years of romance, Karen and Matt appeared prepared for marriage. They declared their engagement the previous year, in 2023. Since then, everyone has been wondering when the couple will say, "I do," walk down the aisle and start their happily ever after. But there has been a significant update surrounding their wedding. What is it? Matt Chandler and Karen Chandler have been announcing their intention to marry for a while now. Throughout their 6 years of dating, they had consistently pledged to be married when the time was right. The recently built dream home at Roloff Farms was the target of the LPBW couple, who also planned to move in immediately after the wedding. Matt and Karen announced their plans to get married the following year after becoming engaged in 2023. Fans had already anticipated hearing "I do." According to insiders, the couple had already scheduled their wedding day for May. However, their time to organize the wedding is running out. The explanation is that Peggy, Matt's mother, has required a great deal of additional care. Additionally, Matt needs to be busy organizing things because pumpkin farm season is quickly approaching. According to the insider, Harry and Karen have been talking about ideas, such as having a vacation wedding in Hawaii. However, the planning is still in its very early phases. They aren't finding the time to plan, but it's likely to happen by the end of the year. Karen and Matt had always desired to wed. Their engagement celebration and the reactions of the other family members were the main topics of the most recent season of LPBW. A couple who were engaged and struggling to agree on certain aspects of their wedding plans were also addressed in a few episodes, though they did not specify what the issues were. Supporters believe that the delay may have occurred because these small arguments turned into something more severe. Karen stated in one episode that she desired a small, private wedding. In response, Matt had used the vague word "maybe," implying that he would like his loved ones to be there on their special day. Neither Karen nor Matt have announced the wedding to the public as of yet. When will these celebrities announce their wedding dates, in your opinion? Is it going to be planned anywhere else than Oregon? Regarding son-owning farm, Matt Roloff responds to irate fans. People have been enthralled with the chaos around Roloff Farms, Little People, and Big World for a long time. Matt Roloff aggressively rebuked several critical commentators not long ago. The storylines on the TLC show Little People, Big World left fans dissatisfied for a long time. It can seem a little monotonous after 25 seasons. Some others even go so far as to claim that it has gotten horribly boring. Due to real family conflict, TLC has earned a fortune off of the Roloff farms. Unsurprisingly, the core of a Yellowstone story would be the family conflict and consequent hostility over the botched land purchase. However, Zach Roloff decided to move his family to Battleground, Washington, which is farther away, because of how bad things were in the Roloff household. Instead of selling a piece of Roloff farms to Zach or Jeremy Roloff, Matt chose to rent out the large residence to people on a short-term basis through businesses like Aaron and Verbo. This makes perfect sense in a business setting. Because visitors can stay in the exact home where Matt and Amy raised their family, Roloff Farms is a well-liked tourism destination. As a result, Matt Roloff's passive revenue will rise with every reservation, increasing his income. Fans of Little People, Big World, on the other hand, have been quite critical of Matt's choice, saying that by failing to pass the torch on to his sons, he has destroyed his legacy. Matt appears to have made a mistake by prioritizing his business over the needs of his family. No matter how busy he is, Matt always finds time to answer questions and comments from fans. But lately, the patriarch of the Roloff family faced his detractors on his choices at Roloff Farms, and he didn't mince words in his answers. With Battleground, Zach is happy. A fan of Little People, Big World, Matt said. Furthermore, it would be unjust to the other kids who aren't on the TV show to give it to Zach. Matt is also preparing his youngest son, Jacob Roloff, to take over the family business, according to a lot of Little People, Big World fans. By the time Matt made another comment, the enmity was well established. He most definitely is. When questioned about Jacob Roloff and his youngest son running the property, Matt Roloff made a comment. Jacob is actually running the farm better than the other kids. Many believe that Matt is obviously preferring one side over the other, even though he has stated that he intends to leave Roloff Farms to Amy Roloff in the event of his untimely death. Matt's recent comments support the long-held belief among fans that he has been setting Jacob up to succeed him. Answers are given to fans who are upset because Matt Roloff's kid owns a farm. People have been enthralled with the chaos around Roloff Farms, Little People, and Big World for a long time. Matt Roloff aggressively rebuked several critical commentators not long ago. The storylines on the TLC show Little People, Big World left fans dissatisfied for a long time. It can seem a little monotonous after 25 seasons. Some others even go so far as to claim that it has gotten horribly boring. Due to real family conflict, TLC has earned a fortune off of the Roloff Farms. Unsurprisingly, the core of a Yellowstone story would be the small-town, big-world family conflict and the ensuing hostility over the botched land purchase. However, Zach Roloff decided to move his family to Battleground, Washington, which is farther away, because of how bad things were in the Roloff household. Rather than selling Zach or Jeremy Roloff a piece of Roloff Farms, Matt chose to let people rent the large residence for short periods of time through businesses like Aaron and Verbo. This makes perfect sense in a business setting. Roloff Farms is a well-liked tourism destination because visitors be able to remain in the home where Matt and Amy brought up their family. As a result, Matt Roloff's passive revenue will rise with every reservation, increasing his income. Fans of Little People, Big World, on the other hand, have been quite critical of Matt's choice, saying that by failing to pass the torch on to his sons, he has destroyed his legacy. Matt appears to have made a mistake by prioritizing his business over the needs of his family. No matter how busy he is, Matt always finds time to answer questions and comments from fans. But when the patriarch of the Roloff family recently faced his detractors over his choices at Roloff Farms, he didn't mince words. Matt remarked, "Zach is pleased in Battleground, a fan of Little People, Big World. Furthermore, it would be unjust to the other kids who aren't on the TV show to give it to Zach." Matt is also preparing his youngest son, Jacob Roloff, to take over the family business, according to a lot of Little People, Big World fans. By the time Matt made another comment, the enmity was well established. He most definitely is. Regarding Jacob Roloff and his youngest son running the property, Matt Roloff said, "Jacob is actually running the farm better than the other kids. Many believe that Matt is obviously preferring one side over the other, even though he has stated that he intends to leave Roloff Farms to Amy Roloff in the event of his untimely death." Matt's recent comments support the long-held belief among fans that he has been setting Jacob up to succeed him. Not today. What are your thoughts on today's gossip?